To factor a trinomial where the leading coefficient is not 1, we can use a process called factoring by grouping. We'll start out by multiplying the first term times the last term. So 6x squared times 12 gives us 72x squared. Now I need all the factors of 72x squared. So 1x, 72x, 2x, 36x, 3x, and 24x, 4x, and 18x. 5 doesn't go evenly into 72, but 6 does. It's 12 times. 7 doesn't go evenly into 72, but 8 does. It goes into 72 9 times. So 9 goes into 72 8 times. All right, so when the factors repeat, I have them all. Now, since this last sign is positive, I want the sum of the factors to equal the middle term. All right, so I need the sum of the factors to equal 17. So if I go down, you see 8 and 9 give us a sum of 17. So 8x and 9x. Now we have to adjust the signs. Remember, if the last sign is positive, the signs will both be the same as whatever the sign of the middle term is. Well, the middle term sign is positive. So both of these factors will have a sign of positive. So now I'll bring down the first term. But instead of that middle term, I'm going to replace it with that sum. Plus 8x plus 9x. And then I'll bring down the last term, plus 12. So I've taken these 3 terms of the trinomial and created 4 terms, 4 equivalent terms. Now I'm going to break these 4 terms into 2 and 2. Now from the first group, I want to factor it. So I want to look for a number or a variable or both that will divide into each term. So for 6x squared and 8x, well, 2 and x will go into each. So when I factor it, really dividing by it, taking it out. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, x squared divided by x is x, plus 8 divided by 2 is 4, and x's will cancel. So bring down that middle sign. I see in the last group of 2 that 3 goes evenly in each, so I'll take out a 3, and then I'll divide by it. 9x divided by 3 is 3x. Bring down a sign. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I end up with, actually, another common factor. That whole 3x plus 4 is a common factor, so I'm going to take that out. I take it out, I'm dividing by it. So 3x plus 4 over 3x plus 4 cancels, I'm left with 2x. 3x plus 4 over 3x plus 4 cancels, I'm left with plus 3. So to factor this trinomial, 8x squared minus 6x minus 9, I'll multiply the first term times the last term. So 8x squared times 9, get another 72x squared. So I'll do all the factors of 72x squared. So 1x, 72x, 2x, 36x, 3x, 24x, 4x, 18x. 5 doesn't go into 72. 6x and 12x. 7 doesn't go into 72. 8 does. 8x, 9x, 9x, 8x. Well, I have them all when the factors repeat. So now this last sign is negative. So I want the difference of the factors. To equal the middle term. So if I subtract, this 6x and 12x will give us a difference of that middle term. Now we have to decide what to do with the sign. So if the last sign is negative, the signs will be different. And the larger factor will get the sign in the middle. All right, well, the middle term is a 6x. The sign is a negative. So the larger factor, the 12 gets the negative, and the signs will be different. So the 6x gets a positive. All right, so I'll bring down the first term. Instead of that middle term, I'll replace it with that difference, plus 6x minus 12x. And I'll bring down the last term. Now once I get 4 terms, I'm going to break it up into 2 groups. The first 2 together and the last 2 together. And I'm going to factor each of those groups. So the first group, I see that 2 goes into each and an x goes into each. So I'll take that out and then I'll divide by it. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. X squared over x is just x, plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. The x's cancel. Now, this next term begins with a negative, so I'm going to take that negative out, and whatever number or variable goes into each term, well, 3 goes into each, so I'll take out a negative 3 from each term. So negative 12 over negative 3 is a positive 4x. A negative 9 over negative 3 is a positive 3. So now I have a positive 4x plus 3 in each term. So I'll take that out. When I factor it out, I'm doing the opposite. I'm dividing by it. So 4x plus 3 over 4x plus 3 cancels. I'm left with 2x. 4x plus 3 over 4x plus 3 again cancels. I'm left with minus 3. That would be my factorization. So the trinomial 12x squared minus 11x plus 2. To factor it, I'm going to multiply the first term times the last term. So 12x squared times 2 equals 24x squared. Now I want factors of 24x squared. So 1x and 24x, 2x, 12x, 3x, 8x, 4x, 6x. 5 won't go into 24, but 6 goes. 6 goes in 4 times. So when the factors repeat, I have them all. Now look at this last sign. Since the last sign is positive, I'm looking for the sum of the factors equal to the middle term. Okay, well, I need the sum of the factors to equal to 11. So 3 and 8 will do it. Now we have to adjust the signs. Remember, if the last sign is positive, both signs will be the same as the middle. So the middle sign is negative, so both signs will be negative. So bring down the first term. Instead of that middle term, I'll replace it with that sum. Bring down the last term. Once I get 4 terms, I'll break them into 2 terms and 2 terms. So from the first group of 2 terms, I see that a 3 and an x will go into each term. So divide each term by 3x. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. X squared over x is just x. Minus 3x over 3x is just 1. Now, this next group of 2 begins with a negative, so I'll take that negative out, and whatever else goes into each term. Well, 2 goes into each term, so I'm going to take out a negative 2. Dividing each term by a negative 2. Negative 8x divided by negative 2 is a positive 4x. Positive 2 by negative 2 is a negative 1. So then I see that 4x minus 1 is common to each term. So I'll take that whole 4x minus 1 out. So I take it out, I'm going to divide by it, from each term. So the 4x minus 1 over 4x minus 1, that cancels. I'm left with 3x. Minus 4x over minus 1 over 4x minus 1 cancels. I'm left with minus 2.